That is so good. She's stunning also. Look at the light through it. Anyways. Hello. This isn't beer. This is sparkling white tea with ginger and elderberry. Contains no alcohol. Let me give it a little. There's some stuff in the bottom. Oh well. It's delicious though. It's serving beer, honestly. It's giving beer, but it doesn't taste like beer. But it's good. How is everyone? Welcome back. It's officially February, and I feel like doing another favorites video. Ooh, favorites. She's gonna talk about all the things she loves. So I feel like I don't have that many, but I feel like I didn't have that many the first time either. So maybe this will be long enough. Who knows? But kind of the same spiel as last time. Some of these are materialistic things. Some of these are habits, hobbies. Some of these are TV shows, podcasts, media, that type of thing. It's pretty much anything and everything that I'm obsessed with lately. So my first episode that I ever did of this podcast is my January favorites. And I remember saying in that one that, like, I don't think this will be sustainable for me to do every month because I don't really purchase that many new things very often. But I'm coming to realize that my favorites are not things that I buy. My favorite favorites are things that are more like habitual things or lifestyle things. So let's get into it. Number one, I have to shout out Ryan's mom, Eileen. She's so sweet. She got me this like membership for, I don't know how long it lasts, but for Christmas, it's like I get a box every single month and it's like mental health surrounded, but it's like mostly relaxing spa type products. And that's what this drink came in, and pretty much everything that's come in the 2 boxes that I've gotten this year has just been like a delight. So yeah, and I'm so glad that I have like a pretty little drink tonight to have, because I love having like a mocktail or something while I do these episodes. And I thought about making a mocktail, and then I was like, oh yeah, I have that drink. And it's delicious, and it's serving late night vibes, as we already spoke about. But it's like kind of kombucha-y. We'll start with candlelight. I've been there go the cats. I have just been obsessed with candlelight, mostly like warm light in general. Like filming again and getting back into filming has made me really start thinking about light sources more, shadows more, all of that. And I don't know, I just feel like candlelight is just the best light there is. You really can't beat it. Truly, you can't. It's so romantic. It's cinematic. It's epic. It's not digital. I don't know. He's got the zoomies, clearly. It's analog, if you will. We love that. I need to buy more candles, though. I was saving this for the pod because I've been wanting to burn her, but needing to keep her for the podcast episode. So along with that, I've been really into like playing around with shadows when I'm filming. Most of the time I'm thinking, I want my camera shots to be evenly lit so I don't look crazy or anything. I might have like a nose shadow going on right here. Who knows? But I'm becoming less concerned with that because I'm having a lot of fun with shadows and just like the dynamicism. Don't think that's a word, but they add like a lot of dynamic to a shot, and they add a lot of obviously contrast, but visual interest. And it's almost like I have this one TikTok that I was filming, and it's of my boyfriend Ryan cooking me delicious dinner. And when he cooks, he has to have the big light on. Okay. I don't know. A moment of silence for me. And I wasn't going to tell him to turn it off. He's cooking me delicious steak dinner, So I was like, I'll just make do with what I can. And since the overhead light was on, I was filming like down onto the cutting board where some vegetables were. He was going to dress the vegetables in olive oil. And I was filming from above. And I was like, oh, wonderful. The big overhead light is ruining this because the shadow is making me see nothing when he's doing this. But then I watched it in post and I was like, this is literally the best shot I've ever filmed. Not really, but I was really happy with what the shadow added to the shot, because you can't really, you can see his hand kind of like moving the bottle of olive oil, but more so you can see like the bottle, the shadow of the bottle, like the olive oil bottle, being raised up and being like swished over. And it just like adds visual interest because it's showing you something by proxy. I don't know the word for that, but it's giving you information about what's going on without like explicitly just showing it to you. And it's very romantic. Everything is romantic. If you're getting into filming, don't be afraid of shadows. If anything, like let them do their thing. Let them be a part of the shot and a part of the story, because they are. And shadows aren't necessarily a bad thing, Maybe if you're doing like wedding portraits because you don't want people to look like super dramatically contrasted, but who knows? Shadows might be your thing. So you should try it. Check. Next fave is going to be, it's got to be The Pit. I mean, I'll say it. I went months, years maybe, without watching it. Everyone else was talking about it. The Pit, The Pit, The Pit. So good. And all I could think was I couldn't make it past season 5 of Grey's Anatomy. 5 seasons felt like enough to me. And then they went on to do 20 plus, I think. So I was like, I'm all good, actually, on the medical drama shows. But truly, The Pit is different. It's in its own lane. If you haven't seen it, I won't spoil anything. But the whole season is one day in the ER. Take that in. So episode 1 is like 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. And it's like, it's not one shot, but it's basically real time. And you're seeing like multiple patients come in. You're learning new patients. You're seeing like updates on the old patients. You're learning about like, it's some people's first day in the ER. It's some people that have been there for years and like have had crazy memories working in the ER. And like, I don't know, it's so good that they do it by hour, because mama, the fatigue of seeing new patients every single episode of Grey's Anatomy and then like somehow stitching in the storyline of the doctors and nurses into there was like too much for me, And it's nice to like, I don't know, have the patients be more of the main characters and like really develop their storylines. So yes, you should watch The Pit if you haven't yet. It's so good. Very binge worthy, a little gory though. So if you don't like seeing like broken bones and broken skin and broken people, maybe it's not for you. But I really enjoy it personally. Okay, check. Next is gonna have to be ballerina or coffin-shaped nails. Now, I know it's a little dark in here and you probably can't see my nails, but I did recently post a video of me getting my nails done, along with showing my nails in like every video that I make right now because I'm obsessed with them. They're not super long, but they're not super short, and they're, I don't know, my stylist, my nail girl, she called it coffin, but in my opinion, I think it's ballerina. But she's the expert. I just think coffin means like straight on the sides, like no curvature, Like I just think it means like, but, and mine are kind of like curved and then flat, like a ballerina shoe, upside down, if you will. And I'm just obsessed. I feel like this shape looks so good on my hand and like fits my nail bed better, but it also like elongates my fingers, which I like because I don't want to look like I have like little tiny small man hands, And when I always tell people when my nails are done, it feels like every task that I do is like bring, bring, like I'm a little fairy, like bippity boppity boo. So if you are an almond nail, oval nail girl, try ballerina / coffin. I would ask for ballerina if I were you. So you get that kind of like rounded sidewall and then the flat top. I'm loving it. Next, we got to talk about Trader Joe's. Now, listen, you all know this. We all know this, but I don't have a Trader Joe's close to my house. Okay? It's devastating. I have a Publix close to my house, and I actually used to work at Publix. That was my first job, and I took it very seriously, as every job. I'm just like, I have fun at work, don't get me wrong, but I am that girl. I'm there to clock in and lock in. I'm not here to play around. I'm here to get a respectable job done. And the Publix near me is just in shambles. I'm so sorry. I don't agree with all the ethics of Publix, the company. They're not sponsoring this. I don't know anything about them, really. All I know is when I worked at Publix, I was very much like customer service forward. And I feel like that's something that they teach people. And I just feel like the Publix near me is just cursed. And maybe it's that there's bad management and everyone that's there is not having a good time. And it's not their fault that they're in a bad mood, you know? I get it. But every time I go in there, it's like they don't have anything that I need. I feel like a burden for even asking. And like, it's just a sad experience to go there, you know? Like their sadness, I can feel it. And maybe I shouldn't be supporting this location of Publix now that I think about it. But that being said, Trader Joe's just emits such a better vibe. And I'm sure there's Trader Joe's out there that have cursed vibes, but the ones near me, every time I go, I'm like, oh, why don't I shop here every single time I need something? It's so cheap. It's way better quality, in my opinion, than you can get from like big brands like that they sell at Publix and Walmart and stuff like that. It gives like market vibes. There's like a lot more options. It's just more fun. It feels like you're playing grocery shopping simulation on like Girls Go Games. You know, if you know Girls Go Games, shout out. That was the best when I was little. But the reason that I've recently gotten back into Trader Joe's, even though there's not one close to my house, is because of their Takis. Their Takis are just better than regular Takis. They're so good. And so I've like started going to Trader Joe's just for the Takis. But then I started venturing out again and like trying new things. I think I was just kind of like burnt out on some of their like frozen food section. But I've been like getting new stuff and it's just so nice. It's just so much better than Publix. I don't know why. Maybe it's just like the subconscious vibes that they emit, that their like design and marketing team has put together to like make people think they're at the farmer's market on a Sunday morning. But I never get to go to the farmer's market. I work every Sunday morning, mama. Every single Sunday morning. Without a doubt. So I need a little bit of that vibe in my life. And I also just think like the night that Ryan cooked me that steak dinner, we went to Trader Joe's. And they have like such fun produce that a lot of places don't have. And like he got us some endives. And then when we were checking out, people were like, can we ask you like, what is an endive? The cashier was asking us that. And Ryan's a chef, so of course he was like, of course you can ask me. Here's what it is. Here's what we're cooking it with. Here's what it tastes like. I don't know. Just much better interaction than my recent visits to my local Publix. All this being said, my hate Ritz is my local Publix. Okay. So next I just want to talk about waking up at 7 a.m. I love it. And I'm not saying that I wake up every single day at 7 a.m. I would love to, but I've been very tired lately. Just like the past few days. It's been hard for me to wake up at that time. But I'm still in my streak of not watching TikTok. And of course, my cats are still waking me up. Oh my God. My God, that's crazy. This is literally insane. Yeah, that was wild. I agree. Okay, well, now that my eardrums have sufficiently been popped, we were talking about waking up at 7 a.m. I'm so sorry. It feels like the literal race music crew is outside, just waiting for me to come down. I'm sure that's what people say when I drive by, honestly, because I'm just like blasting the music. But I don't have that kind of system. That was crazy. Okay, waking up at 7 a.m. It's just the perfect time to wake up. I actually heard Emma Chamberlain talking about this because, of course, I love her. And, of course, I do everything she says and I want to be her. So, anyways, I started my streak of not watching TikTok and only watching my friends page and scrolling that. So, obviously, like, I'm not friends with a ton of people on there. Okay, I'm not like, I only friend my like real friends most of the time. So there hasn't been much to watch. I'll scroll like twice and be caught up. And that created like a lot of time for me to be making a lot more stuff, which has been great. That's something I talked about like a couple episodes ago. And that being said, my cats, of course, still wake me up at 7 a.m. every day because they're hungry. And they can't be bothered to wait until I wake up. So they wake me up. And I have pretty much just put in like a mental rule in my head of like, when the cats wake you up, just get up and don't go back to bed. So it doesn't always work. Sometimes I'm really tired, but most of the time I get up. And the times that I'm really tired, I literally mean I get up, I like walk into the living room and I like start to journal or start to work on something. And I'm literally like nodding off trying to do it. Coffee in hand, nodding off. And if it's that bad, I let myself sleep because I'm like, no matter the willpower, my body's actually not functioning. So I just take that as a sign. But yeah, waking up at 7 just gives me so much more time in the mornings to like become a person and not just work my life away. It's just a lot more personal time in the mornings, which I find really beneficial. And I'm realizing that I'm starting to sound like my mom and every person that I've ever watched grow from a 20-year-old person to a 30-year-old person. Maybe it's just the phase of life that I'm in. But would recommend waking up at 7 a.m. at least like 5 times a week. You know, maybe give yourself like a weekend, 2 days where you get to sleep in. But even on my days off, like those are the days that I want to have more time. Those are the days that I want to stretch as far as I can. And that's what I talked about last week because I only had 1 day off last week. Mm-hmm. So I really wanted to make the most of it. And yeah, just start waking up earlier. Don't make it like some challenge with yourself, like waking up at 5 a.m. every day. I'm going to be so productive. But definitely like pick what is a reasonable time for you to start waking up that is earlier that you already wake up and start doing that consistently and just like see how it benefits your life, you know? Because it will. I'm sorry to say it. I'm sorry to say it if you want to stay cozy in your bed, but you're going to love it. Okay. Next, much like our friends who just paid us a warm visit, I've been absolutely blasting some particular artist recently. And against my honest and best wishes for some reason, I used to think that like I just did not like this artist. It was just too poppy for me. It was too something for me. It was too cringe for me, whatever. I was being lame. I was like, no thanks. And this is a common trend with me. Like, it takes me a while to get on the bandwagon with so many albums. I don't know why. But, like, they will come out and I'll be like, mid. And, like, a year or two later, I'm, like, bumping it in the car. So, who is this person, you may ask? It's going to be Miss Tate McRae, okay? And if you're going to be a loser, like I used to be, that's fine. You can have your own thoughts. And I'm not, like, obsessed with all of her music, but I have recently discovered that, at least in my brain, her recent music and SZA music, very similar, at least in my brain. Maybe not in, like, lyrics so much, but very much in vibes. And I've been living because I love SZA, but I feel like she hasn't really come out with something completely new in a long time. We all know this about SZA. You know, she's like, the album's coming, and 6 years go by. So I get a little used to her music, you know? And I was obsessed with SOS when it came out. Obsessed. And I played it every single day, all day long, every time I got in the car. And that's what So Close to What Deluxe has become for me. I can't stop playing it. What are my favorite songs, you ask? Oh, thank you so much. I was first on Nobody's Girl. And I got hooked on that because the opening line, what does she say? Yeah, got my career on my mind. Money drop in New York City. Look in the mirror and I'm like, so hot, so smart, so witty. / maybe she says pretty. Bars. Girly pop bars. You know what I'm saying? So I was first obsessed with Nobody's Girl. And recently, since then, I have been blasting the whole deluxe album, of course. And recent favorites are No, I'm Not in Love, Like I Do, Dear God, every single day. Dear God, every time I get in the car. So good. So if you've been hating like me, maybe stop, because I'm having a lot of fun since I got over that. And I think that, you know, some of her most popular songs, like, I'm not a big fan of Greedy, and I know Greedy is very popular. I feel like Greedy and Sports Car, oh my God. I forgot it's Friday night and I live in Nashville. I feel like Greedy and Sports Car are of the same breed, if you will, and they're not necessarily my favorites. I really like her music that is like, it almost has like that early 2000s like heavy beat, that kind of like the divas did back in the day. But then on top of that, it's like the vocals and the kind of synthy sounds of the song are very atmospheric, which is so good. And I feel like that's something that SZA does too. But it's also kind of reminding me of like Addison Rae. A lot of her music is very, okay, yeah, we hear ya. A lot of her music is very atmospheric and very dynamic in like how the sound moves around you. And so I would die if Addison Rae and Tate McRae made a song together. And I feel like they're kind of in the same boat in my mind of people being like, doesn't have the chops. And I hate to say that, you know, but I used to think that about Tate McRae and Addison Rae because I was a loser. And now I've been awakened. So if you're not so sure about Tate McRae, take a step back. Go listen to Like I Do and tell me it's not exactly Low by SZA. Okay? Same song, except it's about a girl copying her. Okay? Then go listen to No, I'm Not in Love. Then go listen to Miss Possessive and tell me that, you know, you're not listening to like early 2000s diva pop that has like a little bit more of like sound design behind it. I also really like that she has a lot of like little elements in songs that are like good transition sounds. And that's something that I heard Jack Antonoff talking about when he was making Sabrina Carpenter's Man's Best Friend. And I know a lot of people hate the sounds that he used. So they're not those kind of sounds if you are not a fan. I love Man's Best Friend. Don't get me wrong. But he will use like crazy little violin sounds. And Tate McRae actually has like a lot of like, I don't know, like digital sounds, for lack of a better word, like something that reminds me of a text tone or something that reminds me of like a more electronic designed sound of like a phone ringing. I don't know, like it's just very interesting. So I would recommend you go and listen. I feel like I've yapped long enough about it, so let's move on. But yes, thank you, Tate. Love you, Tatiana. Blasting you every day. I'm so sorry I was a hater for a while. Next, we're going to talk about filming in public, okay? I've finally evolved into my final form of I literally don't care. I love my camera. I take it everywhere I go most of the time these days. And I'm just whipping that thing out. I'm just, meh. I don't know. Meh. I don't know. And I couldn't be happier. And like, I'm not anxious about people looking at me. I'm like, it seems honestly just like an extension of myself at this point. And I bought my first camera in like 2017, I think. So it's taken me 9 years to get here, but couldn't be happier. Couldn't be more fulfilled. I've been waiting on this for so long. I feel like I finally climbed the mountain to see the view, if you know what I'm saying. So if you want to be a person that makes videos and you feel silly with a camera when you go places to film, you just got to keep doing it, you know? And maybe just like realize that the camera can be like a fly on the wall kind of, and it doesn't have to be like something that all of your focus is in. That's something that helps me a lot. Like I will just kind of set it and forget it a lot of the time, or I will, you know, like continue a conversation while I film a shot. And I love that, like I said, you're capturing things through sound or through shadows or through like even motion blur, even, you know, like shakiness. You're capturing the moment with all of those elements. And sometimes like focusing so much on the shot just like takes you completely out of the moment and you miss the entire essence of it because, you know, you're like setting up the tripod just right and you're like worried that people are watching you and you're worried that someone's going to come steal your camera, or you're worried, you know, like I've been through all those feelings and thoughts so many times, and like truthfully now I just take my camera everywhere I go, and then I'll literally be in the middle of a sentence talking to my friend and I'm like, oh, that's so pretty, click, click, and then like when I go to edit that, it has footage of our conversation. It has like, you know, maybe the people walking around in the shot. Like it doesn't feel like intimidating anymore. It feels like just something that I do and just an extension of myself. So I'm so happy about that. It's been amazing. And I think it's also just that I've like surrounded myself with people who support my dream and want me to be happy and make things that make me happy. Next, I have kind of been on a coffee journey recently. As a person who has worked many years in the coffee world and has been a barista at many shops and still works as a barista from time to time, I get pretty sick of coffee very quickly. And I like went through this phase recently where I was like, I hate espresso. I only like drip coffee. And that was fun. I do love drip coffee still. But I was like missing lattes, or I was missing like steaming milk and like having kind of like a ceremonial type of drink, not just like, you know, cup of joe. So then I was like, maybe I do like lattes. Maybe I want to do lattes again. And then I started drinking lattes, and then I was like, you know what? This is just too much milk. So recently, my next February favorite is going to be flat whites, okay? A lot of people think that you can't get an iced flat white. And I'm here to tell you that they're lying, okay? You absolutely can. A flat white is basically a baby latte. It's just steamed milk, barely any microfoam, and espresso. And if you're telling me that that's not the same build as a latte, you're lying. It's just that typically the Australians, the people who made flat whites, made them with less milk than a latte, period. So I've been loving a flat white because it's like a little bit stronger coffee taste, but still like the ceremonialness of like pulling the espresso shot, steaming the milk, and doing the latte art. So yeah, loving flat whites and loving iced flat whites. They're like a little stronger. You can drink them faster. When you put sugar in there, you can taste it more because there's not so much milk and it's kind of just espresso and sugar and like a tiny bit of milk, and it's perfect. It's sweet. It's bitter. It's barely any creamy, but creamy enough. It's so good. Okay. For my last favorite, I probably saved the most weird Monica-esque one. The one that no one's probably going to do or care about, but the one I'm most excited to talk about. And that is watching movies on silent and listening to music of choice in headphones while it plays on the TV. Now, I would recommend it being movies that you've seen before because, you're going to miss a lot if you're watching it on mute. But recently I was watching my favorite movie ever, Julie and Julia. And I just think it's the most gorgeous filmed movie ever. And I think that it's just very a niche thing for me because it basically follows two women and it's like a true-ish story. It's like two true-ish stories that coincide in real life. They did. So it's basically Julie is a woman living in New York directly after 9/11. And Julia, who lived in Paris in like the 40s or 50s or 60s or something like that. So Julie is living in New York and she works at a call center that is like handling basically like, I don't know if it's insurance or something like that, but it's like aid for the affected families of, 9/11. And she is hating her life. She and her boyfriend are like freshly they moved outside of the city. She's just like, meh, I hate everything. I'm sad. All my friends are like horrible. I'm 30 and I need a challenge for myself. And I want to start a blog. It's very cute, right? Very me-core. Like, oh, I hate my job. I'm so tired and I need a creative outlet that is like self-narrative type things with a challenge to it. So she decides she's going to follow Julia Child's recipe book and make all the recipes in 1 year and write a blog about it. So she starts doing that. And then Julia Child obviously is like a home chef, or not really a home chef because she did go to culinary school. But she's in the 50s she's an American living in Paris because her man's is some kind of government war consultant man who lives and works in the embassy in Paris. So she loves life out there. She loves food as it is, and she decides that she wants to go to culinary school. And everyone makes fun of her because she's like a tall, kind of like kooky woman who like is in class with all of these men in the 50s in culinary school. And she eats them up, of course. And then she goes on to have like her own show and write her own book. And so you basically follow the storylines of these two women, and it goes back and forth in time. And so you get like the early 2000s nostalgic footage, and then you get like the gorgeous like romanticism Paris in like the 40s and 50s. So it's just gorgeous. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend watching, but it's very much like a comfort movie. So if you're like looking for action-y Cocomelon overstimulation, that is not what this is. So the other night, I, of course, turned on Julie and Julia because I didn't know what to watch, and I was like trying to get some inspiration going, and I muted it because I've seen it a million times, and I was like, I could probably recite this, and I'm really just here to watch the cinematography to learn from that. So I was listening to music in my headphones, and I was listening to Midnights by Taylor Swift, which I love that album so much. And the like juxtaposition of the like spacey, synthy, sparkly sound of Midnights with like the footage of that movie was like such a weird combination, but so me-core. And I think that, watching, if you are a person that's into like visuals or any type of media, or even a creative person in general, I think that this could be like a really fun thing for you to do. If you're like, because I'm very much a person like, I want 3 screens on at once. I want the TV, I want my iPad, I want my laptop, and I want my phone. And maybe that's not the best for me. But usually it's like I'm in an inspiration vortex when I'm doing that. And that's very much how this felt. So I highly recommend, like turn on your favorite movie and play your favorite album that make no sense together and make it make sense, or like see how in your brain it works. And it's like nobody could put this combination together but me. And I feel like through doing this more and more with like more of my favorite movies and more of my favorite albums, like I'm gonna learn so much more about like my personal scoring preferences, or I don't know, those are big cinematic words that I'm using, but you get the gist. Like I will basically learn more of my like creative identity. So highly recommend. And if you have any like favorites or hobbies or like little things that you do that are like that, please tell me, because I geek out over that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I got to come home early from work today because I went in early. So I had a little extra time after my 12-hour day, and I had 2 coffees today, and I was like strutting at work and everything was going well. And I came home and I was like, time to film a podcast. I'm feeling crazy. So yeah. I really appreciate you guys, like watching this. And I always love to know what you were doing when you listened to this or watched this. Were you folding your laundry? Were you getting ready for work? Were you ignoring, like all the group texts in your phone? Were you going for a walk? Were you grocery shopping? Were you being antisocial and refusing to, go out and hang out with real people in your life? Because I do all those things when I listen to podcasts. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you. My candle is going out, so I think that is my sign to sign off. And of course, we have to say, see you next Tuesday, because that's our new sign off. Thanks for being a baddie. Subscribe if you want to. And thanks for listening to me talk to my cats alone in my apartment yet again. Okay. Bye.